got redemption on Thursday. Let's do it. All right, first, right off the bat, we got a little Ferris wheel going on. I talked to you guys last week before we went on the Thanksgiving Day break. All these word problems are, find the numbers and figure out what they mean. I don't care 2 bits what the story is. All right, I don't care. I want to know what the numbers mean. All right, so first thing we come across here, gets on the wheel at its lowest point, 5 feet. What's that 5 feet telling me? That's my minimum value. That's another fancy way of saying the minimum of this problem is 5. And it reaches the highest point of 130 above the ground. What's the 130? That's my max. Again, you're not going to see those words there. You have to figure out that, hey, that's the min and the max. And there's one more number here. Let's keep reading. The time it takes to make one full rotation. So that Ferris wheel all the way around, again, 8 minutes. So that 8's going to be a fancy way of saying that's my what of the problem. One full rotation, how long it takes to go all the way around and back again. That is my period. That's the period of the problem, 8. So we're going to have to graph a cycle and then find the A, B, and the C. I prefer to find A, B, and C first, graph last. All right, here we go. How do I find A? I don't know how many times we've done this type of problem. How many times do, not how many times. How do we find A? 14. A?
A is it min minus max?
Look at your sheet. Look at your sheet. Let's be sure of ourselves. How do I find the A value?
Max minus min.
Okay, max 130 minus 5 over 2. Just a formula I got to remember. And that, what's this, 62 and a half? Is that what that one comes out to be? So my A value, 62.5. That's also your amplitude if it ever asks. A is the same as amplitude. I'll skip over B and go right to C because it's a very similar formula, which is what? To find your C value. 6. Okay, 130 plus 5 over 2 will be my C value. And I believe that comes out to be 67 and a half. Last value, your B value, frequency, it's known as frequency. I don't have a formula that says B equals. I never will. Instead, you use this formula that contains B. 3?
Period equals 2 pi over B.
There you go. Eight was the period. Plug it in for P, cross multiply. Put the 8 over a 1, cross them up. And when you divide both sides by 8, what's your B value? 11?
0.25.
Okay, I'm going to go 1/4 instead. I'll leave it as a fraction. So pi over 4 should have been your B equals your frequency. It's not enough. Hey, it's not good enough just to find B. You got to know what it means too. B equals frequency. If it ever asks, find the frequency, that's find the B value. Everyone all right finding A, B, and C before we hit up the graph? All right, on your graph, this is driving me nuts. There's 3 values that have to go on your graph. 3. I don't know where they're going to go. I just put 3 random marks. I don't know if they're going to go there or not. What are the 3 values that go on every y-axis? 3 values that have to go on your y-axis. And don't give me the actual numbers here. I don't care about that yet. What are the 3 values that go on every y-axis of a sine and cosine graph? Here we go. 11 again. I got to have the what, and the what on the y-axis.
The min and max and the midline.
Min, max, midline have to go on your y-axis every single time. All right. real quickly, you don't need to write it down here. It's already listed, but min, that's already 5. Max, 130. Here's the part that drives me insane. Midline. You found it already. Midline is the same as what value? Midline and the 2? C value. It's the shift. Hey, C, midline, C, midline, shift. All three are the same. C, midline, shift, which was what? 67.5. So you need at least 5 on your y-axis, and you need 130. You got to make a big boy, big girl decision right now and figure out what you're going to go by on the y-axis. So that 5 appears somewhere in there, and 130 appears. I don't think you're going by 1s. I don't even think you're going by 2s here, huh? So we got to figure out here, what can I go by so I can at least plot 5 and plot 6 and 130 on here. Do I need to see these two numbers? No, I don't. But it should be somewhere on your y-axis. I don't need to see them, though. But it should be somewhere on there. Thoughts, what we want to go by. 1s and 2s aren't working. I'll never get to 130 that way. So we usually go to what? 5s next? Do I have enough spots for it to go by 5s to hit 130? Nope. All right, next suggestion.
10s.
10s, that's fine. Well, if you go by 10, will I have 5 on? Yeah, you will. Here you go. Here's 10. You can plot 5 halfway. Right? So go by 10s. I think you'll hit 130. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So my midline will be right between those two. 80, 90, 100, 10, 20. Perfect. 130. So 10s looks like it. If you don't want to, I don't know, maybe 8s work for you, whatever. Oh, didn't even talk about the x-axis yet, huh? 1 cycle? Good, 1 cycle. So I only need 4 tick marks. Whatever you guys go by, I go by 4s, but I don't care how you space them out as long as they're the same. The period was 8. That is your end of your graph on the x-axis, 8. That's where it's going to end. All right, talk to me. What about in between now? How do I figure out what's in between? I know it ends at 8. 5, how can I figure out what's in between here?
In between, key value.
How do I do it?
You divide the period by 4.
So what am I going by?
2.
Okay, where do I put a 2?
On the left.
Here?
No.
What's 2?
Then what?
4 at the second one, and then 6.
All good so far? All right, what curve am I graphing? Read the problem. What curve am I graphing? 3? Something else.
Positive cosine.
Cosine, right? Graphing a cosine curve. And again, you do have to read carefully. All right, I always say focus on the numbers, but you want to read carefully, and this problem is a classic example why you got to read carefully. Dylan, back to you. Where's cosine usually start? Max. But if you read this problem, it's constructed such that a person gets on the wheel where? Lowest point, right? Everyone see that? You get on it. Plus, let's think about it too. Ferris wheel. Anybody getting on the highest point? Taking that huge step up there? Me neither. I don't think they're bungeeing up there either. So at the lowest point, so where am I going to start here, Dylan? 5, yeah. We start. I know cosine usually starts at the max, but it says it starts at its lowest point. And then keep talking now where?
Then it's going to be 67.5.
Midline to where?
To 130.
Max up to $130. Then where?
Then it's going to be midline again.
Yep.
And then 5.
There you go. And it's only with a cosine curve you got to worry about where you start. Sine always starts at the midline. That's never going to change. Whether I put a negative in front or not, sine always starts at the midline. If you're graphing a cosine curve, take a peek. Where am I starting? Anything? Questions there on this one? Why I'm starting at the bottom versus max? It didn't say write the equation, just said find A, B, and C. So we did that. One cycle. I don't have to go past 8. Questions? All right, one more with you. I'm giving everyone a little study guide for Wednesday's test. Right, now I'll give you the equation. You don't need to find different numbers. I'm going to give you the equation with this ball attached to the spring. All right, part A, what height was the ball released at? What height was the ball released at? This is just another fancy way of saying, who's got 10? Okay, ready, Nick? This is what type of curve?
Sine or cosine?
Cosine. So if you think about a cosine curve, where does it usually begin?
Max.
Max, right? But what did I throw on this one?
Shit.
Well, forget about what's out in front.
Oh, negative.
A negative. So what's that tell you about this curve? We're not starting at the max. We're starting where? Minimum. So that's what I'm asking. Everyone see where the ball's released? It's going to be released at the first point, which is not a maximum. It is a minimum. And everyone see why? Cosine curve with a negative out in front. All right. So now I've noticed I'm finding the min. And you guys got to know how to use these numbers to find the min. Come on now. Come on. How can I use these numbers in the equation to find what the minimum is? Four. Ready? A little help? It's got 4. Ready, Reagan?
-3.5 plus 5.
It was negative 3.5 because of the A value out in front. But there's also a shift which I need to apply to that old minimum of up 5. Good. So it was negative 3.5, but I went up 5. So now it's going to be released at 1.5. Looks like feet are my units here. It's going to be released at 1.5 feet. All right, what's the max now? Piggyback off that. How do I find the max value of this? How high is this ball going to go? 14, how high? Or how can I find it?
8.5.
How'd you get 8.5?
3.5 instead.
It was 3.5, went up 5 again, 8.5 feet. How many seconds does it take to return the original position? What am I asking there? Start somewhere, comes back to the original position. I'm just asking for the what now? Fancy way of me saying, hey, everybody find the period. Yep. All right, let's keep that grind. What's the formula for period? It's on your sheet too. 8, formula for period, P equals?
2 pi over b.
There you go. Do we know where the B value is on the equation? On the equation, that's your frequency, remember. So it's going to be 2 pi over, what is your B value here? 14?
4 pi
4 pi over
over 5.
5. Do we remember how to deal with that? I know we had this long break here, right? Skip, flip, multiply. 2 pi times now, flip the bottom. 5 over 4 pi. Cancels out. What do we got? Pi's cancel here? Yeah, top and bottom. What are we left with here? Pi's aren't in there anymore, so no pi in your answer. 10, 2 times 5 over 4. Whatever that is as a decimal, that's how many seconds it takes to start at the original spot. If you want to, anybody want to, you can reduce that too. I'll take 2.5. I'll take 10 over 4. I'll take 5 over 2. I'll take all of them. All right, graph, ready? First of all, how many cycles do I need to do here? Because sometimes I get a little tricky on you and throw in 2 cycles, right?
One.
Just 1 complete period. That's it. Just 1. All right, what's got to go on the y-axis? What 3 numbers? I know, min, max, midline. I get it, but what are they? What 3 numbers have to go on here? 15. Howie, what 3 numbers have to go on the y?
5.
5. That's your midline. That's got to go on there. Yep. What else?
Negative 3.5 and 1.5.
Whoa, what did we say the min was? Min was 1.5, right?
Oh, the max.
So what? Again, go ahead. Regroup. What 3 numbers got to go on the y-axis?
1.5, 5, and 8.5.
Okay, you guys figure out what you want to go by. All right, I got to have at least 1.5 there, all the way up to 8.5. So whatever you guys feel is appropriate to go by. Go ahead. I went by 0.5s just because that's how I roll. I'm a boss. All right, I went by halves, but if you guys went by 1s, that's fine too. All right, ready for the x-axis? It says only 1 period, so 4 tick marks again. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. However you space them out. Last one's always the period, right? 10/4. Okay, how do I figure out what goes in between now? We talked last problem. Key values. You take 10/4 and divide it by 4. I don't have any sympathy for you. Your calculator can do that. And what's your calculator giving you back? 5/8. All right, so that's where I start, right? 5/8. And now here's the issue we're having. What comes next? Keep adding that to find the remaining values. So 5/8 plus another 5/8. Plug it right in your calculator if you need to. I'm adding 5/8 every time, or the other way to think about it is keep doubling your denominator. Keep adding 5 every time and keep the denominator. So 10/8, 15/8. And if we did 28s, it'd probably be 10/4. Again, guys, I think your calculator might give you, 5. What would it give you there? 5/4 here? That's fine too. It's the same thing. All right, but just keep adding whatever the key value is every time. All right, let's finish this off graphing so you guys can get to work. 15, here we go. Cosine or sine curve? Cosine curve. Where's cosine start? Min here, usually max, right? But we're going min, which was what, 1.5? Okay, where else?
Then the midline.
Yep,
5.
which was 5.
And the max of 8.5. And then 5, and then 1.5.
Yep. Questions? All right, go. Let's go. I think there's 3, 4 problems there. Call me over if you want to check something with me.